You know, I thought I might actually stay dry tonight, but about half an hour ago, hailstones started to come down, and that's after last night's snow, the kind of snow I've not seen in a good few years. Huge flakes falling thick and fast for several hours, and that was after days of torrential rain with the ground already absolutely sodden and not really able to soak up anymore. And that's how we've ended up with the rivers as full as they are in many places, dangerously full in some areas, according to the Environment Agency. And today, when the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, came to this area, he warned that there is more to come. In the immediate future, he means in the next few days, with more rain that is forecast, but also in the longer term, in terms of more of us in more places being at risk of flooding. He was talking today about future investment in flood defence systems, the kind of defence system that they have here in this area that did hold up last night. There is a noticeable difference this time than in the not-so-distant past in terms of the response to this. We've had Cobra meetings from the get-go, the visit from the Prime Minister today, but also here, I think there will be some people potentially wondering why they got a knock on their door last night telling them to get out. That is at odds with what you often hear, with people telling you that they didn't get a warning, but it did come very close here last night. Here's what we found in one of the areas where people were being told to leave their homes. Late last night, with the river level rising, thousands of people were told to leave home to save lives. What are you going to do?
Oh, it's a funny one. I don't know, really. It's a difficult decision to make, to leave your house. I mean, we know the area. The banks are quite high behind us here, but the floodgate is right behind the house, and I believe that potentially could breach and just come over there. Well, I'm lucky because my mum is local and she's got spare rooms, so we're fortunate in that respect that we can just go to her, but obviously there'll be plenty of other people who aren't in that situation, really.
As they knocked on door after door, asking if anyone was self-isolating and telling people this area of South Manchester was being evacuated as more rain-soaked roads were being closed. Snow, lots of it, coming down for hours. Not exactly unusual round here in January, but not usually at the same time as flooding. It already looked and felt strange even before a milkman turned up, unaware houses on his round were being evacuated. By morning it was clear most had escaped the worst of what was feared, despite the vast amount of water. But for some, what kept many thousands awake and worrying all night is today the reality. According to the Met Office, Wales has been the wettest part of the UK during Storm Christoph, with so much rain falling on already sodden ground. Some rivers are higher than they've ever been recorded. The Clwyd so full of fast-running water, it took down a bridge.
The whole street is flooded, the houses, there's water coming out of the houses and everything.
And in Neath, South Wales.
Please, if anyone could come to Leven Goshen Park, I'd be very grateful.
But in Manchester this morning, with the worst of Storm Christoph over, people were allowed to return home.
Yeah, they came round, knocked on our doors and advised us to move stuff upstairs and all that.
Even in places where they've been through this before, you don't get used to flooding, just more practiced. But in this part of Manchester, it's not happened as long as most people have lived here. It was the same in Fishlake, South Yorkshire, just over a year ago, where the warning came after the water was in and the Prime Minister arrived almost a week after the flooding began.
So the risk is that
All changed today then, the Prime Minister flying into Manchester the morning after the night before, visiting the site of the flood defence system that defended thousands of homes here.
if you think about what we need to do as a country as we come out of COVID and as we bounce back, one of the things we're going to need to do is to help to generate jobs, employment inputting in flood defences. And one idea that everybody in the Environment Agency talks about, and I believe in absolutely passionately, is planting trees on the higher ground to help absorb some of that rainfall, to help mitigate the effects of flooding.
For those who have been flooded, it may well take many months for things to get sorted and for home to feel like home. And right now, how much harder, when home for many is also work and also school.